Now about a year ago, Valve had a pretty interesting problem. That's going to be the fact that we were running out of cases. Now we were running in a pretty massive case deficit, as you can see right here, but this was not anything unusual for the time. As you can see, this entire time we were in a case deficit, but right here it got a little bit interesting. Valve decided to go ahead and release their brand new creation, the Anubis package, to go ahead and alleviate some of the stress that was being put on the case market. And the most surprising part about this is the fact that it actually worked. The case market went ahead and relieved a lot of stress, and Valve made a ton of money from the Anubis package. If you want to look at it right now, the Anubis package has been unboxed millions upon millions of times, and it has not really taken too much directly away from the case market because the case market was still in a deficit for a significant amount of period after that. Therefore, Valve had this perfect opportunity where they made a ton of extra money that they might not have made on cases alone. But today we're running into a pretty interesting situation. That's going to be the fact that cases are disappearing in record numbers. Over 10% are gone in the past week, and the fact that case unboxing numbers have now doubled in this same week where we're seeing all these cases disappearing, leading to a prompted update potentially on the horizon. Skinland is today's sponsor, and they're giving you a $10 bonus with code MasterShiny just to try them out. They're my go-to selling spot with the highest rate for sellers, and it's super easy to use. They're going to be currently the best option, paying over 100% when you use that $10 bonus. They're super trusted when it comes to transactions, and it took me just about 2 minutes for me to get my over $200 from this Emerald Jormungandr. They've got tons of different payout options, and they're also going to be having a super low fee buyer's marketplace. It's super easy, tons of deals cheaper than Steam, and tons of different deposit options. This deal won't last forever. Make sure you check them out today with that top link in the description. Now, as absolutely crazy as it may sound, the past couple of months have been really needed for the overall case market. That's because of this graph right here. As you can see, we can have a lot more cases being dropped than unboxed for the past couple of months. This is crucial because if we want to look at the months before this, we can see that a lot more cases were being unboxed than dropped. Obviously, we're going to run into a deficit there, and therefore we're going to be running out of cases eventually. We need to have periods like this if we want them to balance out. Now, looking at these graphs right here, you can obviously see this is a very rough estimate, but at the end of the day, it was increasing for at least that period right there, which you can see was roughly the same as what it took to get rid of in just a couple months. Obviously, this is not a lot of cases that were really being generated because a lot of them were still being unboxed during this period. However, this was the most influential for obviously these active duty cases. As you can see, the estimated supply of these ones went up dramatically more than anything else because obviously these are the cases being dropped during this period. Your rare cases, although they definitely got dropped a little bit more, still at the end of the day only make up 1% of the total drop pool, and that's not a lot of cases being dropped, especially when the player count is a bit lower like it is right now. Now, talking about our case market, if you want to expect them to be going up during this period, because obviously that would be the most logical piece of information that you could gather from the previous information, be absolutely correct. I mean, these things are going absolutely crazy during this time. Talking about the Danger Zone case, we're up potentially 30-35% in the past month alone. This is not a one-off situation as well. A lot of these cases in the cheaper rare category are up potentially 15-20 cents in this past month. Absolutely insane to see growth like this, especially when overall inside of the game, we're not really seeing too much from an update perspective. This is something we harp on consistently inside of this area, is that the growth just happens overnight. It's not something that slowly creeps up. If you want to look at a lot of these graphs, it's really in the past couple of weeks that we've started to see a lot of this growth be created. And if we want to talk about a little bit more expensive cases, we're talking about our older rare cases. These ones are around the $2 to $3 price point. They are also up a pretty considerable amount, usually about 10% for these ones, which is still really good growth. That's about 25-30 cents potentially. And keep it on the same subject of these cases, obviously these ones are not going to be as quick in moving. They're a little bit more developed, and therefore for you to get the same percentage growth, they have to go up significantly higher in the dollar amount. But I still think we're getting massive amounts of growth from these cases right now. These are not something that I really expect to be moving when everything is going on, and right now they're starting to perform a lot better than I think a lot of people would be expecting them to. Now, that obviously raises the question of should you be buying these cases now, and I definitely don't think it's a yes or a no. I think honestly, if you don't have any investment into the case market, I think it's a really good area to be invested into. It's overall one of our safer investments just because cases, especially the rare cases, can only go down in supply, but when we're talking about these cases, it's definitely something that needs to be a personal decision. Don't just invest into them because they're the thing going up right now. You should be interested in the fundamentals of why the cases are going up, and why they're probably going to consistently keep on going up is the main reason why I would think you would want to check out cases. Now, if this is truly the way that the results are going to shape up to be, it leaves us with a couple big problems. First of which is going to be the fact that we are going to run into a Anubis situation very soon. The truth is, right now inside of the game, we do not have a lot of momentum, a lot of traction. We can see at the player counts that it is not a popular game going on right now, especially for opening up cases. It's at a very average level at best. When that heats up, what's going to happen? I think we're going to be running into a similar situation to what we saw with the Anubis package being released, where we see a massive deficit. Now, does that mean Valve is going to come out and release another Anubis package or another package of similar quantity? We don't exactly know, but I don't think it's the most ideal situation, especially for investors here. That's because if we want to look at the case prices, we can see that pretty much right when that Anubis package was released was very similar to the day that we saw the peak for the overall case investing market, which is pretty disappointing because I believe honestly we could have extended that for a lot longer there if we didn't see the Anubis package come out and release, or at the very least we would have saw a longer peak there. So I don't think it's a really good good thing when we see these packages come out. They're a direct competitor to all of the cases out there, and they have an infinite supply. Therefore, it's not helping anyone out that's invested into the case market, whether you're an active duty, a rare, or a discontinued case investor. Now, with all this talk being around, that obviously raises the question of a future update, and I think there's a couple very possible ones on the horizon. The first of which is going to be potentially an operation. Now, an operation would definitely solve all of the issues that Valve is having right now, because it comes in with the most crucial pieces of information. First up, it's going to be able to sell off cases for $1 a piece, plus people are going to be paying that $2.50 to go ahead and open it. It's a perfect combination for Valve. Plus, people are going to be able to buy stars and spend them on whatever as well. They don't need to just specifically be cases. They're going to be able to spend infinite amount of money on these collections that are going to come with it. Combine that with the fact that people are going to be spending probably $15 to $20 on a pass, and they're going to be able to buy all the stickers they want, and I think this is literally the most ideal situation for Valve. People right now have a ton of money burning a hole in their pocket. Even though the world financials are not looking great right now, people are still opening up cases in mass amounts, and therefore that's a ton of money that Valve is printing just off cases, but it's not sustainable. Valve realizes that they need to pivot to something else, and right now I think an operation would be perfect for this. Lastly, the other possibility is going to be the fact that we could get a brand new case. Now, I don't see this as a very likely outcome for a couple different reasons. First up, it just perpetuates the current situation that we got going on with the fact that cases are in a current deficit for the amount of them that are being dropped to open. It doesn't really help in that situation unless you're going to up the drop rates, which obviously Valve is not going to do. Second of which, it's going to be a pretty tough situation of which case to pick, because right now we've got 3 cases that are doing very well in the active duty. 2 of them are doing okay. Those are going to be your recoil and your fracture. Investment opportunity in there is not really something we're going to be focusing in on, but overall, I don't think it's really in Valve's interest to go ahead and release a brand new case right now, especially with everything the way the current market is sitting. Finally, then, Valve's got some other issues going on. Talking about Copenhagen, obviously the sale's been going on for a long period. I mean, we're talking massive amounts of days. This is literally a third of the year that Valve's sale for Copenhagen has been going on. And if you want to look at the capsules, they have not been doing particularly well. A lot of them are struggling at best, holding a 23-24 cent price point, which is not really something we expect to see too much higher, especially when we're talking about the fact that you can now buy these capsules for 20-ish cents. Absolutely insane the fact that Valve has allowed this to go on, because this is something where they are directly losing money. Valve is not getting that full 25 cents. They are only getting 84% of that. It's really crazy to me that they haven't fixed this. It obviously shows the fact that they are just not interested in this specific area, especially for the sticker capsules. And then if you didn't know, I was in a To Heyzeus video about 2 weeks ago where he calls me out for not quoting Fano correctly. If you look at this tweet right here, I think it's pretty clearly obvious that this is obviously satirical. Calling him investor tycoon, literally anyone in the first sentence, I think it's obvious that this is not something to be taken seriously, but Heyzeus obviously does, because that's the whole point of this video. It's really poorly made. It's literally just him dunking on the fact that he's not included in this drama that me and like 4 other people cared about for 17 minutes, and just basically calling himself better because he didn't involve himself. And since we're on the topic of incorrectly quoting things, we can look at this video right here, which literally the title is incorrect. The CS2 boycott. There's no boycott going on. If we want to look at the fact, it was CS Float's API that changed, and that's why it seems like the unboxing numbers were significantly lower than what they actually were, so we'll take that.